class, and how are you? Hope you're doing fine. So today we're looking at the subject GMR, and on GMR we're looking at the topic appropriate equipment and facilities used in mobile phone repairs. Yes. In mobile phone repairs, there are some primary equipment and facilities that are needed to carry out repairs of mobile devices. Today, we'll be looking at some of these equipment. Number one, screwdriver. Now, a screwdriver is an equipment or a tool that's used to loosen or tighten nuts and screws found in mobile devices. I repeat, a screwdriver is a tool or an equipment, precisely a tool that can be used to loosen and tighten screws, nuts found on mobile phones. Now, nuts are used to hold mobile phones together. The front fascia and the back fascia of every mobile device is being enjoined and tightened and fastened by a screw or a nut. So we use a screwdriver to loosen or tighten the screws found on mobile phones. Now this is a screwdriver, to be precise, this is a precision screwdriver, a star screwdriver. Yes, we have different types of screwdrivers, such as a flat screwdriver, the Phillips screwdriver, the star screwdriver, and so on. Next up, we're looking at the tweezers. Yes, a tweezer, or locally known as the picker. A picker is used to hold tiny components found on a mobile phone PCB. Yeah, a tweezer is used to hold or pick tiny components found on PCB. Yes, when you're working on a mobile device or a mobile phone PCB, we use our pickers to hold that particular IC or component found on mobile phone PCB. Let me just quickly perform an illustration. After loosening this device, removing the screws of this device using our screwdriver, then we open it. Now, in certain cases, our fingers won't be able to go in, or our separators won't be able to go in. We then use our pickers, so our tweezers, to open up the device. Our pickers can hold components and go to places that our fingers can actually go to. So you can see this is the importance of our tweezers. When using our hands, we aren't able to open this device, but with the help of our tweezers, we're able to remove this. Like I said earlier, our tweezers, this is a tweezer. Yes, our tweezers are used to hold, as you can see, tiny components found on our PCB, such as the battery and terminal, the diode, the resistor, and power ICs. They are used, the tweezer. Now I'm going to use this tweezer to hold this component. So in a case where I'm working on this component, I can't use my hands to hold this component. I have to make use of our tweezer to precisely pick out or single out that particular component while working on it. So you can see the importance of our tweezers to hold tiny components found on our PCB. So next up, talking about the soldering iron. Just like the name implies, the soldering iron is used to solder and desolder components on the PCB. The soldering iron is used to solder and desolder components found on our PCB. Now, this is a soldering iron. To be precise, this is called a precision soldering iron. It is used for mobile phones. It's used for carrying out repairs on mobile devices. This is a soldering iron. Now, a soldering iron can be set to different temperatures. So if you need your soldering iron to be hotter, you simply increase the temp range of your soldering iron. As you can see, we have from 200 degrees Celsius to 450 degrees Celsius. This particular soldering iron can be set, the temperature can be increased, temperature can be adjusted, unlike others that don't have the adjustment range. This particular, the precision soldering iron is really good because it can be adjusted. The temperature can be adjusted. Now, if we need the soldering iron to be very, very hot to be at its peak, we increase the temperature of the soldering iron. Increase the temperature of the soldering iron to 400 degrees Celsius. Next up, we have the ultrasonic cleaner. The work of the ultrasonic cleaner is for deep cleaning of the PCB. The ultrasonic cleaner is used to clean PCBs. Now, for instance, when our PCB falls into water, or there's moisture content in our PCB, or rust or corrosion is taking place on our PCB, we make use of the ultrasonic cleaner, because the manual cleaner won't be able to pinpoint and remove some tiny rust on the track lines of our PCB. So make use of the ultrasonic cleaner. This is the ultrasonic cleaner of the PCB. So whenever you see this, it is called ultrasonic cleaner of the PCB. So what we simply do is we impute or pour in our thinner to about half volume of this container. After pouring in our thinner, we set the temp range of our ultrasonic cleaner. We also set our timer, and after setting the timer, we insert our PCB into the ultrasonic cleaner. We close it and we wait for the timer to count down. Then after it counts down, we then remove our PCB using our tweezers. Then we remove our PCB and we can go brush it up manually. Next up, we have the DC regulator. The DC power regulator and battery booster is used to supply. The DC power and regulator is used to supply alternate power to our PCB, in the sense that when there is no battery or the battery is unable to supply current while working on our PCB, and our battery is unavailable or able to supply the desired current or voltage you need to our PCB, make use of our DC power regulator and battery booster. It can also be used to boost battery in the case whereby the charges of your battery are very, very low and it isn't able to switch on your phone. We use our battery booster to boost the current of our batteries. Now, for boosting the current of our batteries, what we simply do is we take the positive and negative probe. Now, the red wire is the positive, the red probe, so we call it probe. The red probe is the positive, and the black probe is the negative. What we simply do is we locate the point of our battery that has the minus sign. This is our negative, and this is our positive. And remember, we said the black wires are negative, then we connect it to the negative point of our battery, and we connect the positive probe, which is the red wire, to the positive part or terminal of our battery. So next up, the XMG rework station. The XMG rework station is used for working on mobile phones. This is for removing surface-mounted components on our PCB. Components such as there are components on our PCBs that can be removed using the soldering iron. These components are called surface-mounted components because they cannot be soldered or desoldered from the PCB. They are mounted. So to remove them, we make use of the SMD rework station, and also to replace them, we make use of the SMD rework station. The SMD rework station comprises of our hot air gun, which is used to apply enough heat to remove these surface-mounted components of the PCB. Next up, we have our magnifying lens. Next up, we have our cables, and our cables and wires are used for supplying for use for charging our mobile phone. Our multimeter is used for tracing of components of the PCB. It's used for testing if these components are still working. It's used for testing the working condition of components on our PCB. It's for tracing the resistance, capacitance, also used for tracing the voltage of our PCB. While our flashing and unlocking device, how many of us have encountered any software issue whereby mobile phones are hanging and we ought to flash such devices for them to work properly again? Sometimes through flashing, through the unlocking boxes and flashing softwares, we install new firmwares or custom ROMs. Firmwares and custom ROMs are operating systems of our mobile devices. So for the Nokia makes use of the Nokia box, a device called the Nokia box for flashing of our Nokia devices, while the Android simply needs a software on our laptop and the laptop itself to flash Android devices. Now we also have the PCB holder. Now PCB holders are used for firm holding of our PCB. When working on your mobile device, you definitely need a PCB holder to avoid the mobile device shaking while working on it. PCB holder holds your device this firm, so when working on it, it doesn't shake freely. You can firmly remove these components, but without a PCB holder and you want to remove this component, to be shaking and you will find it difficult to work on our PCB. So a PCB holder holds our mobile devices firmly. Next up, we have the magnifying lens. Magnifying lens, as you can see, is used for better sighting of our PCB. It is used to zoom in the components of our PCB. You can use to see tiny components properly using our magnifying lens. So that's all on components, appropriate equipment and facilities used in mobile phone repairs. Hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I also enjoyed teaching you too. Thank you very much.